I was just a single dad trying to survive another day when I saw the car coming straight for her. I did not think. I just ran. 2 bullets tore through me, but they saved her life. That heartbroken billionaire woman changed everything for me and my daughter. She gave us hope when we had nothing left. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The words hung in the air like morning fog over the lake. Jake Morrison stood at the cemetery gates, his weathered hands gripping his daughter's small fingers. 6 years of being a single father had carved lines into his face that made him look older than 32. His eyes, once bright with dreams, now carried the weight of sleepless nights and endless worry. "Daddy, why do we come here every week?" little Emma asked, her voice soft as a whisper. Jake knelt down, brushing a strand of dark hair from her face. "Because Mommy lives in our hearts, sweetheart. And hearts need to remember." The morning was cold. November had arrived with bitter winds that cut through his thin jacket. He had sold his good coat last month to pay for Emma's medicine. She had asthma, and the treatments were expensive. Money was always tight. But he never let her see him struggle. Never let her see the bills stacked on the kitchen table or the eviction notice he had hidden in his drawer. Life had not been kind to Jake Morrison. 3 years ago, his wife Sarah had died in a car accident. One moment she was driving home from work, the next moment she was gone. The drunk driver who hit her walked away with minor injuries. He got 2 years in prison. 2 years for taking away the love of Jake's life. 2 years for leaving Emma without a mother. Jake had tried to fight the anger. He had tried to forgive. But some wounds cut too deep. Some losses leave scars that never heal. He threw himself into work, taking double shifts at the construction site, doing odd jobs on weekends, anything to provide for Emma. But it was never enough. The world seemed designed to keep pushing him down. That morning, after leaving the cemetery, Jake walked Emma to school. She hugged him tight before running through the gates, her little backpack bouncing on her shoulders. He watched until she disappeared inside, then turned toward the bus stop. He had to get to work. The foreman had warned him about being late again. The bus was crowded. Jake stood near the back, holding onto the rail, his mind wandering to the stack of bills waiting at home. Rent was due in 3 days. He was short by $200. He had already asked everyone he knew. No one had money to spare. The thought of losing their small apartment terrified him. Where would they go? What would happen to Emma? He got off at the financial district. His construction crew was renovating an old building downtown. As he walked toward the site, he noticed the stark contrast around him. Expensive cars lined the streets. People in designer suits walked past without seeing him. This was a different world. A world where money was no object. A world he would never belong to. That's when he saw her. She stood outside a tall glass building, talking on her phone. Even from a distance, she looked different from everyone else. There was something about the way she carried herself. Elegant but tired. Powerful but sad. Her dark hair fell in perfect waves over her shoulders. She wore a black coat that probably cost more than Jake made in 6 months. Victoria Hayes. He did not know her name then. Did not know she was the billionaire CEO of Hayes Industries. Did not know that beneath her perfect appearance, she carried a grief as deep as his own. Victoria ended the call and stood there for a moment, staring at nothing. Her company was worth $3 billion. She owned properties in 15 countries. She had everything money could buy. But none of it mattered anymore. Not since her husband Marcus had died 8 months ago. Marcus had been her everything. They had built the company together from nothing. He was the dreamer, she was the strategist. Together they were unstoppable. Then cancer came. It took him slowly, painfully. She had spent millions trying to save him. The best doctors, the best treatments, the best hospitals. Nothing worked. Money could not buy more time. Money could not buy a miracle. After he died, Victoria threw herself into work. She worked 18-hour days. She expanded the company. She closed deals worth hundreds of millions. But inside, she was empty. The success meant nothing without Marcus to share it with. The money meant nothing without him by her side. She had come to accept a darkness in her heart. Accept that happiness was something she would never feel again. Some mornings she woke up and wondered why she bothered. What was the point of all this wealth and power when the only person who mattered was gone? That morning, as she stood outside her building, she felt that darkness closing in again. She took a deep breath, trying to push it away. She had a board meeting in 10 minutes. She needed to focus. Needed to be strong. Needed to pretend that everything was fine. She never saw the car. It came around the corner too fast. A black sedan with tinted windows. The driver's face was hidden behind a mask. This was no accident. This was planned. Calculated. Someone wanted her dead. The car jumped the curb, heading straight for her. Victoria froze. Her mind could not process what was happening. Time seemed to slow down. She could hear the engine roaring. Could see the car getting closer. Could feel death approaching. Then someone grabbed her. Strong arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her back. She felt herself being thrown to the side, away from the car. She hit the ground hard, the impact knocking the breath from her lungs. There was a horrible sound. Metal hitting flesh. A scream that cut through the morning air. Jake did not think. He just moved. He had been walking toward the construction site when he saw the car jump the curb. Saw it heading for the woman in the black coat. His body reacted before his mind could catch up. He ran. Faster than he knew he could. His construction boots pounded the pavement. He reached her just in time. Grabbed her. Threw her out of the way. The car hit him instead. The first bullet came as he hit the ground. It tore through his shoulder, hot and burning. The second bullet followed immediately, burying itself in his side. The pain was incredible. Blinding. He could not breathe. Could not think. He heard shouting. Heard tires screaming as the car sped away. Heard footsteps running toward him. Then everything went dark. Victoria scrambled to her knees, her hands shaking. She looked at the man lying on the ground beside her. Blood was spreading across his shirt. So much blood. His eyes were closed. His face was pale. She pressed her hands against his wounds, trying to stop the bleeding. "Help," she screamed. "Someone help." People came running. Security guards from her building. Pedestrians with phones calling 911. Someone gave her a jacket to press against his wounds. She held it there, her hands covered in his blood. This stranger had saved her life. This man she had never met had taken bullets meant for her. "Stay with me," she whispered. "Please stay with me." The ambulance arrived in minutes. Paramedics rushed over, taking over from Victoria. They worked quickly, efficiently. Loading him onto a stretcher. Starting in 4. Checking his vital signs. Victoria tried to get into the ambulance with them. "Ma'am, are you family?" a paramedic asked. "No, but he saved my life. Please, I need to know if he's okay. We'll do everything we can. You can follow us to the hospital." Victoria watched the ambulance speed away, sirens blaring. Her driver pulled up, and she got in, ordering him to follow. As they drove, she looked down at her hands. They were covered in blood. His blood. A stranger's blood. She did not even know his name. At the hospital, Victoria paced the waiting room. Her assistant had arrived, trying to get her to leave. Trying to get her to go somewhere safe. The police were investigating. They confirmed what Victoria already suspected. This was an assassination attempt. Someone had tried to kill her. But she did not care about that right now. All she could think about was the man in surgery. The man who had thrown himself between her and death without hesitation. Who was he? Why did he save her? Did he have a family? Children? A wife waiting for him? 6 hours later, a doctor emerged from the operating room. Victoria jumped to her feet. "How is he?" she asked. "He's stable. We removed both bullets. One punctured his lung, but we were able to repair the damage. He lost a lot of blood, but he's strong. He should make a full recovery." Victoria felt her knees go weak with relief. "Can I see him?" "He's in the ICU. Family only right now." "Please," Victoria said, and something in her voice made the doctor pause. "He saved my life. I need to see him. I need to thank him." The doctor nodded. 5 minutes. Jake woke up to beeping machines and white walls. His body felt heavy. Disconnected. He tried to move and pain shot through his chest. He gasped, and suddenly someone was there. A nurse. She gave him something through his fore and the pain dulled to a manageable ache. "Welcome back," she said with a kind smile. "You're at City General Hospital. You were shot twice. You're very lucky to be alive." Shot. The memory came flooding back. The car. The woman. The impact. Emma. "Oh God, Emma. My daughter," he croaked, his throat dry. "I have to pick up my daughter from school." "Calm down, Mr. Morrison. Your daughter is fine. Mrs. Hayes arranged everything. Emma is being cared for at her estate with a private nanny. She's safe and she's been told you're okay." "Mrs. Hayes? The woman he saved? She knew about Emma?" "She's been here all night," the nurse continued. "She's in the waiting room. Would you like to see her?" Jake nodded weakly. Victoria entered the room slowly, as if afraid she might break something. She looked different from that morning. Her perfect hair was messy. Her makeup was gone. Her expensive coat was stained with blood. His blood. But her eyes were what struck him. They were red from crying. When she saw he was awake, fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for saving my life." Jake tried to speak, but his throat was too dry. Victoria poured him water from the pitcher beside his bed, holding the cup while he drank. "Why did you do it?" she asked. "You don't even know me." Jake thought about that. Why had he done it? He could have died. Could have left Emma alone in this world. But in that moment, he had seen someone in danger and he just reacted. Maybe because he knew what loss felt like. Knew what it was like to have someone taken away without warning. He could not let that happen to someone else. Not if he could stop it. "Someone had to," he finally said. Those simple words broke something in Victoria. She sat down in the chair beside his bed and cried. Really cried. For the first time since Marcus died, she let herself feel. Feel the grief. Feel the loneliness. Feel the pain. And somehow, in the presence of this stranger who had risked everything for her, she felt safe enough to let it out. Over the next few days, Victoria learned Jake's story. About Sarah. About Emma. About the struggle to make ends meet. About the eviction notice and the medical bills and the constant fear of not being enough. With each detail, her heart broke a little more. Here was a man who had nothing, yet he had given everything to save her. While she, with all her wealth and power, had been ready to give up on life. Jake learned Victoria's story too. About Marcus. About the cancer. About the emptiness that no amount of success could fill. He saw in her the same grief he carried. The same sense of loss. The same feeling that part of them had died too. "I know what you're feeling," Jake said one afternoon. "After Sarah died, I wanted to give up too. The pain was too much. But then I would look at Emma, and I knew I had to keep going. Not for me. For her." "But what if you don't have anyone to keep going for?" Victoria asked quietly. "Then you find a reason. Or a reason finds you." Victoria thought about that. Maybe this was her reason. This man and his daughter. This family that needed help. She had so much, and they had so little. Maybe this was why she survived. Maybe this was what Marcus would have wanted. For her to use their wealth to help people who truly needed it. The next day, Victoria made arrangements. She paid off Jake's medical bills. All of them. She paid his rent for the next year. She set up a trust fund for Emma's education. She offered Jake a job at her company, managing one of her construction divisions. A job that paid 3 times what he made before. A job with benefits and security. Jake was overwhelmed. "I can't accept all this," he said. "It's too much." "You gave me back my life," Victoria replied. "This is the least I can do." But it went deeper than that. In the days they spent talking, something had shifted. They understood each other in a way few people could. They had both loved and lost. Both known the crushing weight of grief. Both felt broken by life. But together, somehow, they felt a little less broken. Jake was discharged after 2 weeks. Victoria insisted he and Emma stay at her estate while he recovered. The property was massive. A sprawling mansion with gardens and a pool and more rooms than they could count. Emma was in heaven. She had her own bedroom with a canopy bed. She had toys and books and a playroom bigger than their entire apartment. "Daddy, is this real?" she asked, her eyes wide with wonder. "I think so, sweetheart," Jake said, still trying to process it all. Victoria watched them from the doorway. The way Jake hugged his daughter. The way Emma looked at him with pure love. The way they laughed together despite everything they had been through. It reminded her of what she had lost. But it also reminded her of what was still possible. That love existed. That happiness existed. That maybe, just maybe, she could feel those things again. The police investigation revealed the truth about the assassination attempt. It was ordered by Robert Chen, a rival CEO who had lost a major deal to Victoria. He had hired someone to kill her, thinking he could take over her company in the chaos that would follow. But his plan failed. Jake's heroism had saved Victoria's life and led the police straight to Chen. He was arrested and charged with attempted murder. Victoria testified at the trial. She told the court about that morning. About the car. About the stranger who threw himself between her and death. About the 2 bullets that should have killed her but instead hit a man she did not even know. A man with a daughter who needed him. A man who risked everything for a complete stranger. The courtroom was silent as she spoke. Many people wiped tears from their eyes. Jake sat in the gallery, Emma beside him. Victoria looked at them as she finished her testimony. Looked at the man who had given her a reason to live again. Chen was convicted and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Justice was served. But for Victoria, the real victory was something else entirely. It was the friendship she had found with Jake. The connection that had grown between them. The way Emma called her Aunt Victoria and hugged her tight every morning. 6 months passed. Jake's wounds healed. He started his new job and discovered he was good at it. Really good. He had spent years in construction, learning every aspect of the business. Now he used that knowledge to manage Victoria's projects, saving her company millions in efficiency and preventing costly mistakes. He earned every penny of his salary. Emma thrived too. She started at a new school, one with an excellent asthma program. She made friends. She joined the art club. She smiled more than Jake had seen in years. At night, when he tucked her into bed, she would talk about her day with excitement. She was happy. Truly happy. And Victoria? She changed too. The darkness that had consumed her began to lift. She still missed Marcus. She always would. But she learned that grief does not mean the end of joy. That loss does not mean the end of love. That it was possible to honor the past while embracing the future. She spent more time with Jake and Emma. They had dinner together several times a week. They went to the park on weekends. They celebrated Emma's birthday with a party that made the little girl cry with happiness. Slowly, carefully, they became something like a family. One evening, as they watched Emma play in the garden, Victoria turned to Jake. "I've been thinking," she said. "About that day. About why you saved me." "I told you why," Jake replied. "Someone had to." "No, I mean really why. You had everything to lose. Emma needed you. If you had died, she would have been alone. But you didn't hesitate." "Why?" Jake was quiet for a long moment. "Because I know what it's like to lose someone. I couldn't stand by and let someone else feel that pain. Not if I could stop it. But you didn't know me. I didn't have to. Pain is pain. Loss is loss. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It hurts the same." Victoria felt tears sting her eyes. "You're a good man, Jake Morrison. The world needs more people like you. I'm just trying to be the kind of person Sarah would be proud of. The kind of father Emma deserves. You already are." They sat in comfortable silence, watching Emma chase butterflies through the flowers. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It was beautiful. Peaceful. For the first time in a long time, both of them felt something they thought they had lost forever. Hope. A year after the shooting, Victoria held a charity gala. The event raised $50 million for families struggling with medical debt. Jake stood beside her on stage as she announced the cause. He told their story. How a single moment of courage had changed both their lives. How tragedy had brought them together. How they had found healing in each other's pain. The audience gave them a standing ovation. But the real impact was felt by the hundreds of families who would be helped by the funds raised. People like Jake had been. People drowning in bills and fear and desperation. People who just needed a chance. After the gala, as they drove home, Emma fell asleep in the back seat. Victoria smiled at the sight of the little girl, her head resting against the window. "She's beautiful," Victoria said. "You've done an amazing job raising her." "Thank you. It hasn't been easy, but she makes it worth it." "Can I ask you something?" Victoria said, her voice hesitant. "Of course. Do you ever think about moving forward? I mean, romantically. It's been 4 years since Sarah passed." Jake looked out the window. "I think about it sometimes. But I don't know if I'm ready. Sarah was everything to me. The thought of being with someone else feels like betraying her memory." "I understand. I feel the same way about Marcus. But I don't think they would want us to be alone forever. They loved us. They would want us to be happy." "Maybe you're right. But how do you move forward when part of you is still stuck in the past?" "I don't know. But maybe we don't have to figure it out alone." There was something in her tone that made Jake turn to look at her. In the dim light of the car, he saw something in her eyes. Something he had not expected. Something that made his heart beat faster. "Victoria," he started, but she gently stopped him. "You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know. These past months with you and Emma, they've brought me back to life. You gave me a reason to wake up in the morning. A reason to smile again. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know how much you mean to me. Jake reached over and took her hand. You mean a lot to me too. More than I thought possible. When I saved you that day, I was just trying to do the right thing. I never expected to find someone who understood me. Someone who saw past the struggle and the pain. Someone who made me believe in second chances. So what do we do? Victoria asked softly. We take it slow. We honor the people we lost. But we also honor ourselves. Sarah would want me to be happy. Marcus would want you to be happy. Maybe we can find that happiness together. Victoria squeezed his hand. I'd like that. They did not kiss that night. They did not rush into anything. But they held hands the rest of the drive home, and that was enough. It was a beginning. A promise of something new. Something good. Another year passed. Jake and Victoria grew closer. They went on dates. They laughed together. They cried together when memories became too heavy. They supported each other through the hard days and celebrated together during the good ones. Emma adored Victoria, and Victoria loved Emma like her own daughter. They moved slowly, carefully. Both of them had been hurt before. Both of them carried scars. But those scars made them appreciate what they had found even more. Made them treasure each moment. Made them grateful for second chances. On the third anniversary of the shooting, they returned to the spot where it happened. A memorial plaque had been placed there by the city, honoring Jake's bravery. They stood before it, Emma between them, each holding one of her hands. I still can't believe you did that, Daddy, Emma said. You're a real hero. I'm not a hero, sweetheart. I just did what anyone should do. But not everyone would, Victoria said. That's what makes you special. Jake looked at the woman beside him. The woman he had saved. The woman who had, in turn, saved him. Life had taken so much from both of them. But it had also given them this. Each other. A family built not from blood, but from shared pain and mutual healing. I have something to tell you, Victoria said, her voice nervous. I've been thinking about something for a while now. About us. About our future. Jake's heart raced. What is it? Victoria knelt down so she was eye level with Emma. Emma, sweetheart, how would you feel if I became part of your family? Officially? Emma's eyes went wide. You mean like a mommy? I could never replace your mommy. She will always be special. But I love you very much, and I love your daddy too. I want us to be a real family. Emma threw her arms around Victoria's neck. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Victoria laughed through her tears. Then she stood and looked at Jake. I know we said we'd take it slow. I know we're both scared. But life is too short. We both know that better than anyone. So, Jake Morrison, will you marry me? Jake felt tears streaming down his face. For 3 years he had struggled to survive. To provide for his daughter. To keep moving forward despite the pain. He had never imagined he could be this happy again. Never imagined he could love someone the way he loved Victoria. Yes, he said, pulling her close. Yes, I'll marry you. They got married 6 months later. It was a small ceremony in the garden where they had spent so many evenings. Emma was the flower girl. She took her job very seriously, making sure every petal was perfectly placed. Friends and family gathered to celebrate. Even in death, Sarah and Marcus were honored. Their photos stood beside the altar, watching over the ceremony. They would always be part of this story. Always be loved. As Jake and Victoria exchanged vows, they both thought about the journey that had brought them here. The pain. The loss. The moment that changed everything. 2 bullets meant to kill had instead created life. Had brought together 2 broken souls who found healing in each other. That night, after Emma was asleep, Jake and Victoria stood on their balcony, looking at the stars. "Do you think they're watching?" Jake asked. "Sarah and Marcus?" "I hope so," Victoria replied. "I hope they know we're okay. That we found each other. That we're happy. I think they know. I think they brought us together." Sarah always believed things happened for a reason. Maybe this was the reason. Maybe we were meant to find each other. 2 bullets and a second chance, Victoria said softly. 2 bullets and a reason to live, Jake corrected. They stood there in silence, holding each other close. The world had tried to break them. Had taken away the people they loved most. Had pushed them to the edge of despair. But they had survived. They had found each other. They had built something beautiful from the ashes of tragedy. Years later, when Emma was grown and had children of her own, she would tell them this story. The story of how her father saved a woman's life and found love in the process. How 2 people, broken by loss, became whole again together. How courage and kindness and hope could change everything. She would tell them that heroes are not always the people with capes and superpowers. Sometimes heroes are single fathers working double shifts to provide for their children. Sometimes heroes are billionaires who use their wealth to help others. Sometimes heroes are ordinary people who do extraordinary things simply because it's right. And she would tell them that love is not always a fairy tale. Sometimes it's messy and complicated. Sometimes it comes from pain and tragedy. Sometimes it's a second chance you never thought you'd get. But when you find it, when you really find it, you hold on tight and never let go. Jake Morrison had saved Victoria Hayes' life that November morning. But in saving her, he had saved himself too. Had saved Emma. Had saved all of them from loneliness and despair. 2 bullets had tried to end a life. Instead, they had created a beginning. A beginning of healing. Of hope. Of family. Of love. And in the end, that was everything.